Right, we are definitely recording. Right, hello everyone and welcome to the Eat, Move, Win podcast and the musings of a bullshit queenager, and that is me. The guest that we have today is a little bit too young to come under that queenager bracket just yet, but we are prepping her well, and today we have the lovely Clara Innes, who is the Fertility Mentor. Welcome, lovely Claire. How are you?
I'm very, very well. Thank you very much for having me. I'm happy to be here. Always happy to be with you, Emma.
Excellent stuff. I like that. Right. So today we're going to talk about all things fertility. But first of all, why don't you tell us a little bit about what is a fertility mentor? What is it that you actually do?
Okay. So a fertility coach can specialize in lots of different things. Some of the big things are like stress management, preparing egg quality. My kind of specialism is getting a woman's body and her eggs ready to have a baby.
Oh.
So the fertility mentor is all about, just helping women to manage the things that they're in control of. Can't change your age, you can't change how many eggs you've got left, but you can change the quality of eggs you've got. You can change your nutrition, what you put into your body, how you treat your body in terms of what you're exposing it to, harmful chemicals, and you can really work on what's going on up here, points to head, so mindset. I am not medical, I'm not medically qualified in the slightest. I am a nutritionist specialising in fertility. So I help women with the things that aren't prescription related, aren't hospital related, aren't medical related, but are absolutely massive.
So why is it such a big topic, do you think? Have you noticed like an increase in, women that aren't as fertile as they want to be, or, what's going on? Why is it so big?
I think a lot of it's a kind of product of our generation, and you very kindly hinted that we weren't in the same generation. There's only a few years between us. But so you and I, we've had quite a similar life story, haven't we? We grafted really hard and we partied really hard in our 20s. So a lot of women are choosing to do that and have been choosing to do that, particularly in the Western world. We're not particularly following the paths that our mums and our grands followed, where they would typically get married quite young and they would typically have kids quite young. We wanted to go to uni, we wanted to travel, we wanted to go to Ibiza, we wanted to have all the fun, and that is great, and I don't regret any of that. But one of the things that's coming out of it is people are waiting till a bit later to have their babies. I had my kids when I was in my 30s. I think you did too, didn't you?
Yeah, early 30s. I think I was on the cusp of being a geriatric mum, and I was horrible. Like, how is that even a real phrase?
That box is absolutely horrible. I think they might have changed it to advanced maternal age, which is equally as offensive.
Hello, old lady.
Tick, 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 ding, 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 old lady. No, not nice at all. So I think it's like a byproduct of the choices that our generation have made. And again, I'm very proud of having made those choices. I'm in a different position a lot of us in a different position to the generations before us. We've got more financial independence, we've lived more, we've had the career, we might still have the career. And there's no shame in that, despite some of the guilt that might come from various places in people's lives. And we can probably touch on that. That's probably a whole other podcast. But the reason I think it's such a hot topic right now is our kind of lifestyle. That's more the norm. Whereas back in the day, that might have been quite unusual. So we were having the fun. We might drink a bit more than we should. We might be going out for dinner quite regularly. And that becomes the norm. And then we think, when I have children, and then it's as if something ticks and we're like, right, I'm ready to have the baby now. But there's often a decade of lifestyle choices sitting there that weren't particularly optimal for having a baby. So one of the big messages that I'm huge on is you can't take on any guilt for the choices that you've made. The choices that you've made were valid at the time. They were absolutely valid. But how do you take control? How do you repair things so that your body is ready to have a baby.
Yeah.
Because I know, and like, I wouldn't talk about my other clients, but you know, me in my 20s, me and Chris, we were out for dinner all the time. The weekend started on a Thursday night and it finished before we went to work on a Monday. And then even I worked customer facing in corporate finance. So even during the week, you know, it was the rich dinners, it was the late nights with clients. I worked in Edinburgh. So the whole month of August for the festival, it was just entertaining non-stop. Great fun at the time, but not particularly good for lifestyle and lifestyle directs, you know, lifestyle links almost like exactly with egg quality and our ability to have babies.
I did not know that. That's really interesting. And I think, you know, I'm completely with you, and they don't feel guilty for the choices that you've already made, because there's jack shit that you can ultimately do about it. And that's something that we talk about with my clients as well, as like, past is in the past, but what we can take control of is the decisions that we make in the future and how we think. And they are the big controllables. And I suppose that might be quite challenging in your industry, because I would imagine a lot of your clients, a lot of the people in your audience do have the guilt about, oh, well, maybe I shouldn't have used that 5 years to go clubbing or do 1825. Are they still real things? 1835 holidays, 1825. I can't even remember. I did actually go on one and it was awful. It was like my actual worst nightmare. It was horrible. So
yeah, but even like the 18-hour work days as well. Like I work with people who they've got themselves into this scenario where they're working 18 hours a day. They need to keep working 18 hours a day to keep paying for the mortgage. So they've got this wealth and this lifestyle that probably the generation before them is really proud of, but they're still getting this guilt for, oh, you should have had a baby in your 20s when it was easier. So I honestly don't even think it's a case of moving away from the guilt. I think we should celebrate the choices that we've made. We've educated ourselves, we've lived, we've embraced our independence. We own houses, some of us. We've done things. We've chosen to live life before we've decided to have babies. And yeah, that can cause some complications in the middle. For some people, by the way, most people are fine. But if you're one of those people that there are complications, there's absolutely no need to feel guilty. A, because you can't do anything about it. B, because look at where you're sitting right now. There's probably so much going on in your life right now, so many gifts in your life right now that have been as a direct result of working hard, crafting hard, going to uni, and learning about life. You'll probably be a better parent when the time comes because you've travelled and you've had the fun.
yeah, absolutely. It's such a tough one. So if there's people listening right now, which I'm assuming that there probably will be, who are struggling or are trying hard to have a baby or are beginning to doubt whether they're able to or not, what kind of top 3 to 5 things should they be looking at doing? Is there any way of, hacking it? Is there any way of things that they can do that are going to get results for themselves?
Well, 100%. There's loads of things that they can do. And this became a big passion of mine during the pandemic, when we couldn't, like, there was less availability of medical intervention. You couldn't get in front of a doctor, you couldn't get in front of a medical team. And my big thing is switching it back around. So what can you do? Move away from can, move into can. Okay. So one thing is education. So really understanding what's going on. Are you tracking your menstrual cycle like a ninja? Do they understand when they're ovulating, and do they understand that they can get pregnant from intercourse the 5 days before that? Are they being real about their lifestyle? And this is a massive topic, so I'll try and condense it. Our eggs we're born with all the eggs that we're ever going to get. This is the eggs that eventually kind of link up with the semen, they become the embryo, they become a baby, and in the happy version. Okay, we're born with all the eggs we're ever going to have. We cannot make more. We can't go into a lab and create eggs. We're born with all of the eggs. When we age, typically the quality of those eggs goes down. It deteriorates over years, and this is why lots of people that used to be, they would get pregnant in their early 20s. That worked. They would get pregnant like that because they were super fertile. So in a normal story, our fertility does decline with age. But the thing that we do have control of is the quality of the eggs. So if you think of the 2 pillars, there's the amount of them. Can't do sweet FA about that. That's just like out with my control, like a big blow it away. The quality of your eggs, yes, you absolutely can do a lot about the quality of your eggs. So when we talk about tips and the things that I work on with my clients, everything is geared towards the quality of their eggs so that they are more likely to implant and less likely to miscarry. So chromosomal abnormalities are the reason for the majority of miscarriages. That's fact, that's science. The better quality egg, the less chance of a chromosomal abnormality. And the things that we can do for egg quality, most of them are things that not only are we in control of, nobody else can control for us. So it's not a case of getting a prescription for myoinositol. It's not a case of getting a prescription for letrozole. It's literally things like getting up off your arse, walking around, eating well, not eliminating fats, getting enough of the good fats, getting rid of the bad fats. I know this might be quite controversial, but having the right level of body fat. If we have too much fat on our body, then we overproduce estrogen. And I know this is something that you're really passionate about as well. So there's lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of things that we can do. I tend to work alongside the doctors. So I never say to a client, stop dealing with your medical team, just deal with me. I would never, ever, ever do that. But I would always recommend to my clients, talk to me. If you're, for example, a lot of my clients are preparing for IVF. So I say to them, come with me, work with me for 3 months. It takes 3 months to improve egg quality. Isn't it an absolute no-brainer if you're either getting 3 shots on the NHS or if you're paying out of pocket for IVF to make sure that the eggs that they're taking out are the best quality possible? So we work on lifestyle, nutrition, the right supplements, mindset, balancing their hormones, all of that good stuff. So tips, educate yourself, read about it, follow me. I don't stop talking about it. As Emma knows, I do not shut up about egg quality because I think it's absolutely massive. And I think it's groundbreaking as well that we've actually now got the studies and the numbers that tell us this isn't just, you know, hypothetical finger in the air stuff. There's a brilliant book called It Starts With the Egg by Rebecca Fett. So anyone who is 35 plus, perhaps overweight, perhaps there's a bit of a history there, buy It Starts With an Egg. That should be your absolute Bible. And follow me, follow loads of the other brilliant fertility coaches that are out there as well.
It must be like such an emotional time of a woman's life, regardless of how old they are. You know, if you're starting to plan for a family or try for a family, or even if you find yourself pregnant. And the type of work that you do with your clients, it must be so emotional. But what are the best bits about it for you? What makes you glow with joy when you're dealing with your clients?
Loads of things make me glow with joy. Most of my clients are looking to reduce body fat. Okay, so they're typically they're over 35 or they're looking to reduce body fat. So one of the things that makes me absolutely glow, like even audibly glow, not just visually, is when I sit with them and I look at their results. So we look at their before and after pictures, we look at their inch loss, we look at their weight loss, we look at their initial notes on our first call. Quite often people will say to me, I haven't ate breakfast for 2 years. I feel like I'm never eating. I'm permanently starving. I'm so stressed out about food. Like I literally go up to the fridge and I open and close it 7 times. Then I go make toast. What makes me absolutely glow with pleasure is when I can see them like, oh, I wish this was on film, but it's not, it's a podcast, but they glow. I see in their eyes them going, because you'll know, like with the before and after pictures, they're putting the jeans on every day. The jeans are shrinking in the wash. They don't see it. And then there'll be maybe a month to 6 weeks and we'll put their pictures together and they'll really, really see it. And you can't argue with that.
No.
You can argue with weight. You can say, you know, I had loads of carbs last night, or there was this, or I'm doing my menstrual cycle. But the pictures, the inches, not only can you lose the weight, you are losing weight. You're eating food, you're eating a fertility diet, you're eating well. So there's no can't here. You are. It's not that you can, it's that you are. And then, of course, pregnancy announcements, people having babies. Like, it was literally a pregnancy announcement that made me start doing this. So
Oh, was it really?
I can still feel the glow from the pregnant. It was like one of our clients. So I don't know if people know, but Emma and I work together and we have done for many years. And we had a client and she's just like, my face glows thinking about her.
No.
She had PCOS, she had gave up trying, and she found out she was 8 weeks pregnant and our wee boy's 2 now. And I
He's a
still
wee
coach
gem,
her,
isn't he?
and
He's a wee gem.
I was a wee darling. It's just nothing like it. There's absolutely nothing like it.
Oh, it's amazing. And on the flip side, and you can get really real and honest here, what do you hate about it? Like, what really boils your piss?
Oh man, lots of things boil my piss. My piss is on permanent boil. Okay, so the industry, there's a lot of people in the industry that I feel are like taking the piss out the vulnerable.
Oh, really?
So yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
this might end up going over, because I think you and I have probably got the same piss boiling triggers about, obviously I'm in the weight loss and the perimenopause space. So yeah, like, you go.
So if you think it's bad in the weight loss space, times it by 5 in the fertility space.
Oh, no way.
I run a private Facebook group. It's called TTC 35 and over. And on a weekly basis, I am banning people and deleting people for posting the most spurious, offensive things you can imagine. So, and this could be quite controversial on your podcast, so feel free to cut it out if you want. One of the things is ladies coming on and saying, I was infertile for years. I didn't have a menstrual cycle. I didn't this, until I came across this one doctor. His herbs fixed me within 2 months, and now I have a baby. These secret herbs, this secret mix of, and you will get a blessing and all that. I'm like, how bloody offensive is that?
That's a pain in the tits. We get that as well. I get that quite a lot of, I've not been able to lose it. There was one that I had an argument with the other day, and I called her a snake oil peddler.
You what?
I called her a snake oil peddler because she was like, oh yeah, I've this one product, I lost 2.5 pounds in 2 days. And I was just like, you can lose 2.5 pounds in 2 days just by, cutting out carbs and like drinking loads of water. It's not fat that you're losing, it's just volume. And then she's like, oh, do you want to buy the product? And I was like, no, I don't want to buy the product. You've not even told me what the product is. And it was a secret blend of herbs. And it's just that whole, it's so frustrating. And I think your space, your clients, your audience, there'll be a level of, I'll try anything because I just want to have a baby. And that's really,
I know, and because like that's it. They do sometimes get to the point of like, well, why not try? But it's, in my opinion, it's absolutely just ripping the arse out of people who are vulnerable and will try anything. Another thing, and this is the controversial thing that I was touching on, is quite strong religious beliefs, kind of judging other people. So it is not uncommon for women to go through IVF in secret because there's religious beliefs or there's cultural beliefs that it's wrong and it's against God's will. Another one is people carrying around a lot of guilt because they've had a termination in the past for whatever reason. I would never ask anyone to explain why. Guilt around terminations is super, super, super common, and it's hard to deal with as well. All you can do is be there for them and reassure them that you're not struggling with infertility now because you had the termination when you were 16, nor are you a bad person because you had the termination when you were 16. We've all lived, haven't we? So there's no judgment ever, 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 ever. And then the other thing, like, I'm just going to come out and say it, when I know that I can help people and they won't invest in the coaching, that's really, really, really difficult.
Oh yeah, I hear you on that one. Well, you've seen me in tears in situations like that, and I imagine that you must get quite emotional about it as well, because it is such an emotive topic. And you know, it is so hard to see when it's like, this can change your life, like absolutely change your life, and not just for me in body composition, but you know, in every what way. So yeah, I hear you on that one. I think that's probably one of the big downsides of being in a service-based role, where you know that you've got a skill that can help people, and well, for whatever reason, people either don't trust you or trust themselves.
Yeah, they just don't have the faith, and it's difficult as well, because obviously we are paying bills. We know there's an economy crisis on the go, so you can't argue with it sometimes. You can't say, you know, like, don't pay your mortgage, buy this instead. You would never do that,
No,
you know. But
absolutely
it's
not.
hard.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, what really annoyed me, right, this was at Christmas, and the media was going off in this cost of living crisis. I can't remember what shop it was I was in, and it was stowed, and the queues, I think it was Next, and the queues out the door were insane. I'm like, what? Like, you're hearing all these things, and then you're seeing something completely different. You're like, don't know. I've got my own thoughts on that, but that's maybe for a different podcast. Like,
I'll join in that podcast.
one of the questions I wanted to ask, and I don't know if it's something worth talking about, but in terms of the male partner, if there is a male partner, is that something that you get involved with, or is it solely the female side that you work with?
Excellent question. I only work with women. However, my one-to-one clients who are trying with a male partner, we have a whole module dedicated to what they can do to help their male partner with lifestyle choices. So everything, except for obviously tracking your menstrual cycle, which we really hope the men don't have, all of the nutrition choices, all of the movement choices, most of the supplement recommendations that I make for my female clients are as relevant for male factor as they are for female factor. So all of it is all, most of it is very, very relevant, but I do help my female clients to help their men, but I wouldn't take on a man client. I haven't worked with a man since my 20s, actually.
I'm actually trying to think. I had a client some time ago who she had got on our coaching call, and she started off by saying, I am raging at you. And I was like, you know, that way you're like, oh my God, what have I done? And I'd already checked our accountability form. I'd already checked her stats prior to the call. So I was like, and everything was going the way that you would expect, like her weight to come down. She was feeling good. She did some good mindset changes. And I was like, oh my God, what's going on? And the reason she was raging is because her husband had gone down 2 belt notches since she'd started working with me, and she'd only gone down the 1 belt notch, and she was like, I'm the one paying for this. How come he's getting the benefits? And I was like, because it all carries over, because it's lifestyle, because it's appropriate for every single member of the family, then everybody needs the rewards.
Yeah, that's it. So that's one of the big things that we do is, and we do it in EMW as well. You do the kitchen makeover. You don't have the crisps, the sweets, the shite sitting out on the cupboards, on the desktop, so that when somebody's walking by looking for a snack, they're going to see an apple, aren't they? And it carries on, even like if you've got kids in the family as well.
I know.
Having the good stuff at eye level is everything.
I know.
I love that.
There's
But
a
just
reason
getting back to what you touched on. Sorry, on you go.
I was going to say there's a reason that they put the most expensive items in the supermarket at eyeline.
Aye. Yeah.
Environment plays a part.
Right, anyway, I was just going to touch on what you were saying about male factor, and this is a really common myth that I just wanted to use this opportunity to talk about. A lot of people think that infertility is typically a female problem, and it 100% is not a female problem. It is absolutely, and this is whether you're in a mixed gender couple or not, 30% are female factor, 30% are male factor, and then the other kind of 30 to 40% are both, or undiagnosed. So infertility is no more a woman's problem than it is a man's problem.
Oh, that's really interesting. I didn't know that. I agree. My opinion was that it was actually more male factor. Like, just blame it on the man anyway.
Off with the men, off with their heads.
Wow, that is really interesting.
Yeah.
Is it easier? So, I don't know anything about this. For male infertility, is that a similar approach?
Yeah.
Lifestyle, all you can control?
Lifestyle. So like with male, it's actually easier to test and diagnose what the issue is. So that should be one of the first ports of call. But I always say to everyone, if you think having a baby, if you're going to start trying, even in the next 6 months, start cleaning up your lifestyle, stop smoking, don't use recreational drugs, really be careful of the kind of high GI carbs that you're having. So many people in the Western world just do not appreciate how they're existing on carbs. So really, really look at that.
Shall we open up another half hour and we can just talk about carbs?
Carbs. But yeah, tidy up your nutrition, live well, get rid of the shitey BPA takeaway tubs that you're reheating all of your meals in. It's not good for your hormones. It's not good for your health. Just look after yourself. And that's as valid for men as it is for women.
Oh, some good points there. Good points. I love it. So is there anything that, that was an echo back. Is there anything that I've not asked you today that you want to share with people listening?
Yeah, there is. So if anyone listening to this has been kind of just seeing what happens for 6 months, and a lot of people tend to do that, they don't admit that they're trying until they're panicking. So if you have been just seeing what happens for 6 months and then actually trying for 6 months, then go to your doctor now and tell them that you've been trying for a year, because just seeing what happens medically is the same as trying. You've been having unprotected intercourse, and that year has gone. And the reason I say to speak to the doctor sooner rather than later is that it's no surprise there's waiting lists everywhere, isn't there? So just get yourself on that hamster wheel, get yourself on that list, particularly if you're in the UK. If you're 35 plus, then go after 6 months. You never, ever, ever, and this is something that I talk to clients about all the time, you never need to do the things that they tell you. I'm from Glasgow, I've been brought up, the doctor's in charge, the doctor's this, do what the doctor says. When it comes to fertility, it is your journey and it is your path. So even if you do go in and they run tests and they say, I recommend that you go for IVF, you can still say, brilliant, but I'm not doing it right now. I'm going to take 3 months to work on my egg quality. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. The thing about putting yourself forward early is that it puts you in the driving seat, as opposed to being on a waiting list for who knows how long. Okay? So present earlier. Your brain, your comfort zone will tell you not to, but don't listen to your comfort zone, because your comfort zone wants to keep you safe and wants to keep you where you are. But where you actually want to be is pregnant or a mum. So just take control and start the process early.
Love it. Love a comfort zone chat. Oh, we could spend all day talking about comfort zones and carbs and fats.
Comfort zones and carbs. We should call the podcast this.
Comfort zone.
And what else did I want to say? Yeah, another big one as well is try your best not to be offended or not to take it too personally if your medical team sends you off to lose weight. It's so hard to hear, and it's something I speak to clients about literally on the daily. They're not doing it to make you feel shit. They're not doing it to get you out of their office. They're doing it because there is legitimate science behind the proportion of fat on our body, and we can have too little as well as too much, but there is very legitimate science behind it. So they're not doing it to hurt your feelings or make you feel bad. And I know that it might hurt your feelings and make you feel bad, and if it does, come and rant to me and we can call them all the things you want, but don't take it to heart and don't let it stress you out too much. Weight loss, fat loss is science. It can be done. There's people like Emma and I that have been working on it for a long time. Please don't let that add to your stress level, because high stress levels obviously creates more cortisol, and then that starts a whole new hormone imbalance, which is bad news for fertility.
Correct. It's super hard, isn't it? And it's, doctors don't tell you to lose weight for the good of their health. There is actual reasons behind it. There are health risks to being overweight. And that we do have to remind ourselves of that. And especially from a hormonal point of view, so Clara's working with fertility, very hormonal. I'm working with perimenopause, very hormonal. And if we carry more fat, the hormone reaction to that can have huge knock-on effects to perimenopause symptoms, to fertility. So it's just something to be mindful that excess body fat does have quite a big impact on estrogen levels in particular. Yeah.
Particularly in what we call, in fertility terms, the 2-week wait. So that's between ovulation and when the menstrual period is due. If we're dominant in estrogen, because we have more than the right amount of body fat, if we're dominant in estrogen, our body can't create enough progesterone to actually stimulate that follicle, that hormone, to help create a baby, help create an embryo. So there is science behind it. Don't let it hurt your feelings. Just you treat it scientifically as well. Get the help you need. Come see me, come see anyone else, and then get going. They're not doing it to be dicks. They're doing it because they need to.
Love it. Right. Okay. So finally, where can people find you?
Hopefully everywhere. So my website is thefertilitymentor.org.uk. I am most active on Facebook. I have a free Facebook group for any women trying to conceive, exclusively for women. And it's called TTC 35 and over. I'm live there really regularly. I'm posting free content, posting free recipes. All my kind of deals in terms of my coaching packages go there first before they go out kind of like to the general public. And then follow me on Insta. It's at thereal.fertilitymentor.
Love it. Wonderful. Thank you. Okay, so anybody who has got any concerns over their fertility, or they are trying to conceive, or they're having challenges, reach out to Clara. She is very lovely to deal with. She's very much an action taker. So whilst she will give you cuddles as and when you need them, she will have you making changes that will benefit you in the long term. So yes. Right, thank you very much. I know I'm calling you Clara and Claire. Her name is Claire, but I've always called her Clara, so it gets a little bit confusing, but her name is Claire.
I prefer Clara to friends. Claire, because my Facebook account got hacked last year and I had to change it basically.
And that can be another whole podcast episode of what to do when your social media accounts get hacked at the same time as your friend and colleagues whilst you're in America.
What not to do. What not to do.
There's nothing else to do. Like, we could only go mental. Only.
Yeah.
Right, I'll leave it there. Thank you so much. And I will see you all on the next episode.
Thank you, my darling. Always a pleasure.